talk about ball position. It's very misunderstood. There tends to be a generic answer that if you position the ball just off the inside of your heel, that's going to work. And you do that from wedge shot to driver, long irons and driver, this sort of thing. I really disagree with that. I think we should pay a lot more attention to ball position than that. The ball position, the general rule of thumb that I like to think about with ball position is that the ball position is going to be not a reference off the foot, but more off a reference from our left arm. And I like to think of the armpit because our low point would really be where the left arm at the shoulder socket. And since we're hitting a little bit on the downswing, we can move that over to the armpit. So we can drop a pendulum down to the ground. And we can see that with a narrower stance, you can say, well, that might be about at the inside of the left foot. However, if I widen my stance, we can see that it's nowhere near the inside of the left foot. And if I start adding a little bit of spine tilt into my address position, then I really am changing that ball position a lot than if I had a narrow stance and we're setting up more erect or upright. So now, to further complicate this, this is really needs to be a reference of where we are at impact, and not so much at address. Because if we set up here at address, but at impact we're say more back, have more spine tilt, and our low point is here, we set up at address here, but at impact we're here, or the other way around, we set up here, and at impact we're a little bit more forward. So you really you've got to look at your divots, and you've got to look at divots and see where your divots look the best, and you want your divots to be, Mo would always tell me, bacon strips, not pork chops, thin. He picked the ball clean, wasn't hitting down, taking big pork chop divots. So if you're hitting kind of thin bacon strip divots, you can, if you're taking a wider stance, which I recommend, then you can you can start getting a feel for swinging the club around different places and getting an idea as to where your divots are at and where they're looking at. But the concept is really inside the left armpit and then moving down from there. Now, ball position can move around kind of in an arc like this, from the where you might have it more out towards the foot. If you move the ball back in your stance, you can think of it more as a T square. So as the ball position goes back, then your flight line moves out to the right. Back ball position, flight line out to the right. Forward ball position, flight line more to the left. We don't really want to have forward ball position as much because there's a tendency to then come over the top and chase the ball. I like back ball positions, but a back ball position, working the shaft a little bit more down to the inside. If you had a position more center or even back in your stance, then like Lee Trevino is a perfect example of more back ball position, working to the inside, taking a thin divot, but hitting the ball a little bit out to the right. So George Knudson, again, said everybody has a different alignment. This is absolutely true. It has a lot to do with ball placement, position, how you swing the club, whether you're someone that really slots it in deep, depending on how you release the club. Where you're real tight and quick around, it's going to tend to move ball position forward. If you're using more of a swinger's release out to the right, it's going to, ball position can be more back, but more rotated out to the right. It depends on your swing. So it's something you kind of have to find for yourself, but don't get caught into the belief that ball position is stuck somewhere at the left foot, and that's just going to change based upon the stance width. That's just not a good idea. So it's something you find for yourself, but that's basically the concept, the T-square concept of back and forth, ball back, the T-square moving more out to the right for the back ball placement, and then understanding low point and how that relates to spine tilt and where we are at impact, and work from there to find the correct ball position